Joining us on the line is Demetries Grimes. He is a combat-decorated former U.S. naval officer, aviator, diplomat, and military prosecutor. He is now running for Congress in Florida's 15th Congressional District. Demetries, thanks so much for joining the show. Really appreciate it.
Great to be here with you today. I love your work.
Hey, thanks. I really appreciate it. So let's talk about your race here in Central Florida. So you've run for Congress before. You did so in a Democratic district. You ran as a Democrat, largely because in that district, the only way for even a conservative to win was to run as a Democrat. So what makes you a Republican? Let's start with that one.
Exactly. And you know, I've been a lifelong Republican and a lifelong conservative, and I did something back then that nobody else, no professional politician would do. And I just couldn't sit back and watch what was going on. Everybody remembers the progressive wave that brought in the likes of AOC and Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and others. And I couldn't sit back and watch that happen. Of course, fast forward to 2022, and you know, so much has changed just in the last year. But even since then, thanks to our great governor Ron DeSantis, I mean, we've had 400,000 plus Floridians who've actually come over to the Republican side. And now Florida actually has pushing 150,000 more Republicans registered than Democrats for the first time in Florida's history.
So let's talk a little bit about foreign policy. Obviously, your expertise is in that area. You were the U.S. naval attaché to Israel and Greece. You were an advisor on Russia and Ukraine to NATO's maritime forces commander in London. So you're watching the Biden administration and what they are doing on foreign policy. You know, let's start with Ukraine. What should they be doing differently with regard to Ukraine?
Yeah. So, yeah, I was one of, at the time, as you mentioned, I was an advisor to NATO's maritime special operations commander on Ukraine. I was one of the first U.S. officers into Ukraine when Russia went in there the first time. And I saw the transition from the Obama administration to the Trump administration, and it was night and day. And when President Trump came in and started giving the Ukrainians the lethal aid that they needed, and we were engaging in more training and readiness and interoperability, which served as a deterrent, because you know the Ukrainian people are proud people who love their country, and you know they understand that this fight has to be it's their fight, and it has to be their victory. And when Biden came in, he terminated all of that, and he basically greenlit the invasion by, you know, he made it clear that we're not going to sanction Russian oil and gas because the Europeans are going to be upset about that. He made it clear that the moment I would say that really emboldened Putin to do what he did was our disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, which just a year ago, yesterday, really emboldened many authoritarians around the world, because you know Putin saw this. My assessment back in 2014, based on my travels up to the area, and I spent 3 years in and out of there, was that the Russians are going to come back. They're going to encircle Ukraine, and they're going to negotiate down to take in the Mykolaiv industrial areas where they have the uranium mines, the oil and the gas, and the diesel marine engine factories and the shipyards. And that's all they wanted. But they saw the disastrous withdrawal that we had from Afghanistan, and they thought, hey, you know what? I think, you know, Afghanistan is a country of 42 million people. The United States was entrenched there for 20 years, and the Taliban came in and took it in less than 2 days without firing a shot. I think we can do the same thing with Ukraine. And so basically the Biden administration greenlit the invasion of Ukraine.
So let's talk, Demetrius, about the relationship between the United States and Israel. This obviously has been a major focus for you. The Democratic Party has been moving in increasingly anti-Israel directions. It seems like every time there's an exchange of fire between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, for example, there's deep heartburn on the part of Democrats, particularly in the Squad, in condemning it. Do you think that's a growing movement inside the Democratic Party, or is it basically just a fringe that's being overblown?
No, it's actually a growing movement within the Democratic Party, but it's going beyond that, because you take the BDS movement, which is it's a part of it, and so they see, the radical left sees the kill zone of our future is in the minds of our children, and this BDS movement is one aspect where they're you know, BDS movement is an anti-Semitic movement that's disguised, you know, as a social justice movement, just like BLM and others. And we face some serious challenges, because in the Democratic Party, they boldly take pride in the fact that they, for some reason, they think that they are taking a stand for human rights and social justice by being anti-Israel, but it's anti-Semitism in disguise. And as someone, as a diplomat, I served over there, and I witnessed the rocket attacks and terrorism and all that. And I can tell you that, the the Israeli people, our interests and Israel's interests are completely aligned. And as people who love God and country and family, uh, and are humanitarian by nature, Israel is our closest and our strongest ally in the Middle East, and it only strengthens us as a nation uh, when we strengthen that relationship.
Well, that is Demetries Grimes. He's running for Congress in Florida's 15th Congressional District. Demetries, what is the best way for people to support your run?
Grimes.gop. I'm up against an army of professional politicians. I'm the combat veteran in the race. I've been endorsed by Navy SEAL PAC and Ambassador David Friedman, former U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Florida Republican Assembly, and many others. So Grimes.gop. I'd be honored to have your support. Look us up and reach out to us.
Well, Demetries, really appreciate the time.